Hi, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, a place where you can learn about body language and nonverbal communication. You know, we keep it plain and simple, we get straight to the point. If you enjoy what you hear, click like. If you want to continue listening and staying up to tune with how you can observe and understand people appropriately and correctly, click subscribe. And if anything springs to mind during the video, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. So, without further ado, we're going to get straight onto it. What we're going to be talking about today is downcast eyes, which is basically a smart way of saying the eyes facing downwards, all right? So not the head completely, but the eyes looking down. The head may join the eyes, but we're speaking on behalf of somebody looking down, especially when we are communicating with them, whether that be verbally or non-verbally, okay? So we can call it a downward gaze. We can call it the dipping of the eyes. And what it means is basically an aversion by looking down rather than looking left or right or upwards, okay? So rather than looking to a particular side or looking up to the sky, the individual is going to look down, okay? And we're going to put it in a, my apologies, we're going to put it in a context of conversation, communication, or at least two people engaging, okay? So what it signals is that the individual, at least at that particular moment in time, is submissive, okay, or embarrassed, yeah? So in regards to it being a submissive signal, it's quite a positive sign to see in dating, all right, as long as it isn't a sign of embarrassment. But to be fair with you, even if it is a sign of embarrassment, it shows that the individual cares about how they're perceived by you. So in the courtship game, it's actually quite beneficial for the woman to be put in that position, all right? It can be actually quite a turn on, you know. A lot of people fetishize embarrassment and humiliation and so forth, so it links within that spectrum, okay? So it's a show that a woman is prepared to play the submissive role within a relationship, which realistically speaking is the natural means of things. So it is a means of non-verbally communicating, I am allowing you to be the dominant individual within this relationship, okay? It is a strong way of showcasing attraction. Now it's not to be mistaken with a complete aversion. So if somebody passes you in the street and just doesn't want to make eye contact, so just stares towards the floor, not communicating, completely having no engagement with you whatsoever, it's not to be mistaken with this. What we're going to talk about is if you are conversing with someone, or if you have definitely acknowledged each other, so made that initial eye contact, and then that eye contact is broken by the submissive look towards the floor. Now this isn't necessarily based just purely on a woman doing it to a man, or whichever, right? This could be you yourself, all right, being submissive towards your boss or somebody whom you may deem an authority figure or something or other, okay? You are more likely to do it in regards to where you are positioned in the status hierarchy if you are positioned in a submissive lower role, okay? It has an air of regression to it, all right? So we speak about nonverbal communication and how a lot of it does stem from our childhood. So when children want sympathy and care, they may cast their eyes down, okay, in order to seem helpless, and creates that desire to protect. When it comes to dating, a lot of it is based in regards to a dance of maternal and paternal, you know, influence regarding both parties, okay? Very Freudian. When the child looks down when they're in trouble with a teacher, it will reduce the level of punishment because it shows that the individual is, as we said, embarrassed, potentially shameful, and puts themselves within that submissive position, okay? So nobody likes to attack or beat down on the defenseless. Maybe some do, but a lot of people will be turned on. Or should I say turned off by that, you know? So people will use these eyes in order to take less, sort of remove any form of threat towards a dominant individual, okay, such as the boss, such as the teacher, such as the parent, such as the masculine man who sits in front of the effeminate man, or the woman, okay, the female of the species within a courtship environment, all right? It's a form of distancing to sort of relieve themselves from the stressful situation, okay? So when you are not wanting to draw attention to yourself, you'll look down at the floor, such as the situation I said when you're passing someone in the street and there's a complete aversion, all right? A complete avoidance. And I'm sure we've all been there. I'm a grown adult, and only the other day I was in another town where I happened to walk aside or come down the same street towards someone whom I knew, all right, knew well enough to say hello to. And now I was with another person, which may have influenced the situation a little more, but this person, it was a female, just stared at the floor and walked on by, okay? Complete avoidance for whatever purpose they had, yeah? Now, I personally took that as quite offensively, okay? Now, I know I shouldn't do, but me as a human being, biologically speaking, psychologically speaking, I took that offensively because it's a showcase that I am not worthy of someone's attention, if you know where I'm coming from. So it can also be used by a boss. Well, a complete aversion of the eyes is used by those in authority to minimize those around them by not giving them that attention. But we're talking about to the floor at this moment in time, so it's a complete different situation, all right? In communications with couples, you can identify if their partner is interested in you due to this. A word doesn't need to be said. If you're communicating with a man and you're saying, hello, how's everything being, blah, 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 and then as you're saying hello, you look and catch the partner of that man off guard with a direct eye contact, that person may quickly break that eye contact with you in surprise and look down towards the floor. And I'm saying this out of experience, only as of recent, but this can happen, okay? Words don't have to be said for the signal to be there, all right? Just because somebody's in a relationship, these nonverbal communications still continue to overtly produce the submissive and dominant and sexual attraction symbols that I explain in these videos. All right. It's not a gravity-defying gesture, so when we speak of things going upwards towards the sky, they tend to be purely positive and, in a hierarchical sense, significant of a more powerful state of mind, whereas this is a downwards submissive gesture. All right. So what you need to pay attention to first and foremost in a, if you are attracted to this person or want to identify if this person is attracted to you, you need to indicate, taking in the large picture, as to whether it indicates submission, which we've really dialed in on today, what we're concentrated on, defeat. Okay, the person may feel defeated and generally just be a big slouch and allow the weight of the world to take them down. It might be shame or embarrassment, depending on the context, okay? Usually the person who looks away first is the more submissive or passive, all right? But you need to see as to where them eyes break off, all right? So you, as an individual, speaking to your boss or so forth, you might not want to hold that extended gaze with your boss and with your boss and create that degree of indirect conflict and challenge his authority. But you don't want to break downwards in order to give them the upper position. You can break to the left or the right to catch your thoughts and then get back to looking the individual in the eye. That's the best way to deal with it, alright? If you were to look upwards, that's to then, sort of minimize their position, alright? Hopefully this was some food for thought. If you enjoyed what you heard, click like, click subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. Goodbye.